Hello and welcome back to episode 4 of what I think I'm going to call the Weekly Bee. My name is Bianca and today I'm going to tell you about what I've been working on this week. Today I'm going to chat to you about all my bag designs, a dress that's in progress, and my knitting project, which I've got 2 on the go, socks and a sweater. Let me start with telling you about my first bag design, the Roma Necessaire, in which its release is very imminent. We are just busy working on some final touches on the website. When I mean we, I mean my partner really, because I can't do technology to save my life. So he's just sorting all of that out and we should be ready in a few days. Fingers crossed for that one. So I designed the bag for you to be able to use all your bits and pieces of scrap fabrics left over from other projects in the form of cutting them into squares and patching them all together. I have done various options for this so you can see the differences and you can decide on what would be best for you when you make up this bag. So I have one side with squares and I have the other side with just one layer of fabric. I did make another version, which is the one where I am carrying my socks project inside, which I'll tell you about in a second. But this version I made both front and back panels with squares all over. I did different quilting techniques, in which this one I added a stitch line 1/4 inch away from every seam, and on the first one that I made I did a chevron design, which is forming V's all along the bag. I told you last week that I couldn't get a cord version out of my head, so of course I had to make it, and we are adding pictures of this to the website as well as another option, because if quilted squares is a bit too much work for every time you want to make the bag, there's also the option to make it in just a plain fabric. On the inside you have 2 pocket options. You have a side pocket in which you can divide it in as many divisions as you want to. There is also the option of adding just a patch pocket. Again, this patch pocket you can divide it in as many spaces as you need to, depending on what you'd like to use it for. You might want to store different lipsticks inside, or just use it for carrying around your knitting project or putting in your toiletries. Whatever the use is, you decide and how many times you want to divide your pockets on the inside. You don't even have to put the pockets on if you don't want to. Moving on to the second bag design, which I am still finessing, is the Palma Pouch. Finally, after having the sides clipped down for about a week or 2, I have sewed them down, which is all I needed to finish the bag. I even took this along to my sewing social without having it finished, but carrying my tools inside. I still want to work a little bit more on the bag, and I think I'm going to add different options in terms of how long you can have your zipper on the sides. Just as an example, this one, there's quite a lot of zipper on the side, and this one I reduced the amount. There's going to be 2 different side options, and that is going to influence how much zipper you need to have on the side. I'm still working on that. Let me show you what the different options I currently have. So for this bag with the shorter zip, there is the side option that is rounded on both sides. For the version with a longer zip, it has to be longer because the front part is flat open when you lay it on the desk. So if the zip was shorter, you wouldn't be able to open the front pouch or the front part that much. So this is why I want to include 2 different options for that. Options without the handles, flat front and longer zip, and then rounded side, shorter zipper. You can add the handles. I have also been working on a mini version of the Palma Pouch. I'm still working on this one in terms of what stabilizer to use, because for this one I used a fusible foam and I think it's just a bit too much for the small size that the bag is. I definitely want to try this version out in just a batting, and I'm going to add handles to it as well to see how it works out. I have been working on this bag design, and what I mean by this, I mean the Palma Pouch pattern. I have been working on it since probably September or October last year, and I just want to make sure that I get it as perfect as I can. I thought I would be ready for a tester call at this point, but obviously I am not, so it's gonna take still a little while longer, and I don't want to put a time frame on that to put pressure on myself. So do please keep an eye out on my socials for when that one is ready for testing. Other sewing projects I've been working on this week is continuing on my Lyra dress, which is by Tilly and the Buttons. It is finally starting to look like a dress, and as I mentioned to you, I have lengthened the dress to a midi length with just 1 tier on the bottom. Because I've extended the button placket all the way to the hem, I have had to put the dress together in a different order. Not that that has been a problem, but it has thrown me off in the sense that I wanted to add in side ties, and of course I forgot, because because there's so many other things going on that I need to remember in constructing the dress, I sometimes just get carried away, and of course it happened this time again. So by the time I remembered about the side ties, I had already done the whole bodice, stitched it, overlocked the edges, stitched the skirt to the top, and then I remembered, oh, the side ties. So I did a bit of a lazy move. I just unpicked the skirt and the bodice, a little section there, inserted the side ties and stitched it back closed. It's not perfect. Instead of the ties leaning towards the back, they're actually leaning down. I don't think it's gonna make that big of a difference for me, and the print is so busy, I don't think I will actually be bothered by that, but only time will tell. I didn't forget the pockets in this time, which I'm happy about, and I also didn't forget about adding in the side slit, although I do think the side slit is not high enough. So once I have the button placket on, I'm going to try on the dress again for like the 5th time and see how I'm feeling about the side slit. Other than that, I still need to attach the collar and decide what I want to do with the sleeves. Leaving the sleeves long as they are, I think it's a bit too formal. So I was leaning towards either 3/4 sleeve with a cuff or elasticated cuff, or short sleeves. But then if I do short sleeves, I'm probably not going to be wearing the dress in winter, which is what I want to. So I still need to decide what I want to do with that. Moving on to my knitting. I think I am on the home run with my sock project. I've knit basically the whole foot of the sock as well. I'm just a few rows short, and then I will move on to closing up for the toes. I have really enjoyed knitting this project up 2 socks at a time. It has just been so much fun, a complete game changer. I keep on going on about this, but I will never knit a pair of socks one at a time again. If you haven't tried this, I definitely suggest that you do try knitting 2 socks at a time. There are a ton of free patterns out there, and the pattern I'm using is the I'm So Basic socks by Summer Lee, which I got off of Ravelry. It is a free pattern if you want to give this one a go. The other sewing project I'm working on, which is a bit out of character for me to work on 2 knit projects at a time, but I am making good progress on the Gumdrop Sweater by Rita Made This. I'm obviously hacking the pattern because Rita's original pattern has pearl bumps all over it, and I am not putting in the pearl bumps. I am simply putting in colored stripes. I am really enjoying seeing the colors coming together on this one. I originally wanted to do just these striped colors, so having the red, pink, cream, and then pink and red again, without having these in the middle. But something was telling me, just do it. Just add some random color stripes to break up the big bold print. And I'm quite pleased that I did do that, because I think it's just making it look a lot more interesting. I just need to knit a couple more inches before I start shaping the neck and the shoulder area, and then I will have a front or back bodice done, whichever piece it is. What I want to do when I'm finished with the pieces is as well crochet a row of stitches, or many rows of stitches, across these horizontal lines, and I think I'm going to do them in pink and red, but of course I will only be able to decide once the time comes, because a lot of my knit projects that I hack is a kind of go with the flow and see where it ends up. Make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter as well as my YouTube channel, so you can get all the latest information about what I have been working on this week and feel inspired to maybe create your own unique projects. You will also find the links to everything I've spoken about in the description box below. That's it from me today. Bye for now.